lot of professional traders are now going back into the market because it takes about a 3% move past something, a strong resistance like a triple top, and you can consider it a breakout. Well, this is almost a 9% move. Big news in silver. Technical analysis shows that the breakout that started back in March has been absolutely confirmed at this point. And this is really important because of the way professional traders trade. Now, there was a triple top that was far less than 1%. It was like less than 0.5% from each other. A triple top where the price went up and then was repelled at this resistance line, this green line. This big long-term trend line was the fundamental resistance that was broken back in March. It went up and made that triple top, and it got repelled at that resistance, which was a double top resistance back then. And it went back down and retested this trend line, and that resistance became support. Now it's gone up, and it has broken this resistance here and the triple top by almost 9%. So this is very significant because of the way professional traders trade. We're going to get to that in a second, but first I want to take a look at what's happening in the world. So we've got China selling Treasury and U.S. agency debt rises to record levels. China just dumped the largest amount of U.S. Treasuries and agency debt in history. Probably fine. You know, we used to call this the nuclear option. Whenever tensions build between the United States and China, they've got so many treasuries that they can absolutely collapse our economy by just dumping them all on the market at the same time. However, global trade prevents war. This is very important. China does not want to ruin our economy because we are their biggest customer. Their economy does well when our economy is doing well. So as long as we can keep on buying stuff from them, their economy goes along just fine. They're in a trade surplus. We're printing we're typing the world's reserve currency into existence, and we get to buy stuff with it. And so that is causing us to have this consistent trade deficit that goes on for decade after decade. We're able to do that because we can pay our debts with the currency we create. But this is a bad sign, and when it comes to the global trade barriers and everything breaking down and the death of the global dollar standard that I've been tracking since 2008, 2009, Russia confiscates 800 million euros of worth of assets from Deutsche Bank, Unicredit, and Commerzbank. And they're doing this to get back at when the U.S. and the Western world seized and froze so many Russian assets. So this is a tit-for-tat thing, and it is bringing the world economy down. Right now, we're still in these bubbles. Things are going along. The president just imposed a series of tariffs on goods made in China. Now, 25% on steel and aluminum, 50% on semiconductors, 100% tariff on Chinese EVs, and 50% on solar panels. Well, this will slow down China's takeover of the U.S. car market. In the future, I believe that the big three in the United States are going to be Tesla and two Chinese companies. You're not really going to see much from Ford and General Motors if they survive. But 50% on solar panels. Now, I want to point out that the president does not have the ability or authority to tax a Chinese company. When we're talking about tariffs, this is coming out of your pocket, not their pocket. Yes, it will slow down their trade with us, but as you slow down trade, there's less for them to lose getting into a war. I mean, if you're going to help to slow their economy by doing stuff like this, it the more that we come completely independent and sever all of our ties with the rest of the world, the easier it is for World War III to break out and for your life to be threatened. Moving on, what could pop? The bubbles, all the bubbles, they're out there right now. China home prices. This is the biggest fall. This is close to 1% in just April. Just April. And so this is a consistent downtrend now going on for a few years, except for just 2 months of tiny little gains in home prices. The rest of it is all in the negative. And that is their largest single consumer investment sector, is real estate. Capital gains hikes. I covered this a couple of videos ago, that raising capital gains to 44.6% could be one of the things that helps to pop the stock market bubble, because the higher the tax is that you have to pay on any gains, first of all, you will have to beat inflation. Your investments have to go up 44.6% before you've gotten to a break-even point, when it comes to inflation. So, not to be outdone, Trudeau. Canadians will now pay 66% capital gains on all their profits over $250,000. So you're talking about the government up there. They used to take half of everything. Now, and they left you half. Now they take 2/3 of everything and they leave you 1/3. What are you going to do when it comes to savings and investment versus instant gratification? You've got delayed gratification by saving and investing. You're putting off what you could have today for someday way in the future. You want your investments to pay off and grow, and you want greater purchasing power. But now they're going to take 2/3 of that purchasing power, that gain that you've made. So people are a lot more likely to spend it now versus investing it into companies and having it grow. So investing it into the stock market. They're more likely to spend it as we, countries around the world try to increase capital gains. So moving on, the proposed Canadian capital gain tax rates, it used to be just a flat 50, and then anything above 250,000 is now 2/3. And so this is a disaster. So if you had invested back 17 years ago at the as the real estate bubble was popping and we were going into the global financial crisis of 2008, there's been about a 50% inflation since then, according to the BLS, or the BS I like to call it, because there really isn't any labor in here. This is just the Bureau of Statistics, or the BS. We know that this is the CP lie. And but if you have that 50% gain and then they take 2/3 of it, you owe them $33. But that 50% gain gets you back to break even on purchasing power. You're only catching up to inflation by having that 50% gain. You should be able to deduct inflation from all capital gains, and from, as inflation goes up, you have to get paid more. So people ask for raises and so on, and your pay increases, but that pushes you into a higher tax bracket. And so it's just impossible to get ahead when there's big inflation. So moving on. Hi, I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for subscribing, and mention that if you'd like to help our channel, please consider my company, GoldSilver.com, the next time you buy precious metals. We're one of the most trusted names in the industry. Our prices are sharp, delivery is fast, and we have an insiders program where you find out exactly what I'm doing with my own investments. Thanks for making GoldSilver.com your dealer, and now back to the video. The BLS, I said that the CP lie, the CPI is the CP lie. Well, what they did at the end of March, they stopped reporting. The last publication date is March of 2024. Tomatoes that they've been tracking for years and years and years. And they actually would go into stores and take a survey and come up with all this. Tomatoes, shortening in vegetable oil, and coffee. Coffee is no longer in the CPI. So how do you deal with prices going up? Well, you just stop reporting on it. That's how to make yourself look good. Out of control inflation, it now takes at least 178,000, I'm going to round, for a family of 4 to live comfortably. Moving on again. Taxes in America are out of control. So this is a distillery, and this guy down here is explaining that for every gallon of whiskey they make, they pay the government $13.50 per barrel. That comes to $894 per barrel. And so this is what it costs every day. This is a week. And so they pay $1 billion in taxes a year. And this is when they're making it. So they're paying it in advance. It's not on profits. And so it takes 4 to 7 years to age that whiskey, put it in a bottle, and sell it to a distributor. And that is when they finally recoup that currency. He's calling it money. If we were using money, we wouldn't have all of these problems. So households earning $300,000 plus per year are the biggest beneficiaries of the new student debt cancellation plan. This is a study by Pennsylvania Wharton University that finds that the average is going that these households that make more than $300,000 per year are going to see $25,500 of debt relief on the average. Now, this next tweet, in case you were wondering who's going to benefit from the new student debt forgiveness, it's the rich again. From my buddy in wealth management, I have a client where both spouses are doctors. They have a combined $650,000 in student loans that will be forgiven next year. The husband just inherited $4 million, and the government is going to give them $650,000 in student loan debt relief. And where does that come from? Well, the government doesn't create anything. They have to take it from somebody before they can give it to somebody else. So did you sign up for this? If you paid taxes, did you sign up to give this family of 2 doctors that are highly paid and just inherited $4 million, $650,000 of government currency that was taken through coercion by basically pointing a gun at us and saying, give me your money. But it's not money, it's currency. So right now, the government is spending $1 trillion every 100 days. That's what they're going in. That's the deficit spending that they're doing. So the currency that they don't have is $1 trillion every 100 days. So a good way to understand exponentials, 1 million seconds ago was 11 days ago. 1 billion seconds ago was 31 years ago. And 1 trillion seconds ago was 31,000 BC. Well, actually, I did a search on it. It's 31,688 years ago is a trillion seconds. So how much is 34 trillion seconds? $34 trillion. If you borrowed $1 every second, how many years would it take you to borrow 34 trillion? Well, it's more than 1 million years BC. I mean, it's about 1.1 million years to borrow that many. So where were we back then? Was this us back then? Well, actually, if you go to Wikipedia, we were in the Paleolithic era. And if you go to this time scale down here, here's 1 million years ago. So Homo erectus, and here's Neanderthal man, and here's Homo sapiens. Just the last 200,000 years or so, Homo sapiens, and so modern humans, right up here at the top. So actually, if you were, it's like either this guy or this guy. If he borrowed $1 every second and was still alive today, over 1 million years later, he'd owe the same that we owe as a country. This is totally insane. It's hilarious, but it's insane. So here it is. We're approaching 35 trillion now. This is going to be way over 35 by the end of the year. I don't know what month it's going to cross 35, but this is insane. So Elon Musk chimed in, warning over the massive deficit spending, and Javier Milei, president of Argentina, has just proven what happens when you stop this insanity. He has, the government is in surplus. He has more than balanced the budget. But inflation went from over 300% down to 11%. The budget is now in surplus. Absolutely amazing in the short time that he has been in office. He's just turned things around and put a stop to this like suicidal path that we all seem to be on. Now, this is what happens when you create too much currency. So this is in Venezuela. This is currency in some trash bags, and they're sort of throwing it around. And where are these trash bags located? Well, it turns out they're located inside of a trash truck. So the trash man just picked them up, discovered that it's actual paper notes, and started tossing them around and filming it with his cell phone. So they are right at that Weimar Germany moment when people are throwing their currency in the street. Now, the financial banking system in Cuba has almost completely collapsed. Cubans woke to learn their bank accounts have been emptied, and there is no cash at the ATMs. The entire financial system in Cuba has completely collapsed. For some reason, this monumental story has not made it onto mainstream media. Well, actually, I'm going to differ with that statement, because here's Bloomberg. Communist Cuba is on the brink of collapse, and it's going through the hardest economic crisis in 3 decades. Should be prepared for an eventual and sorely needed regime change. So this is what happens when currency is created and the monetary system is abused. Now, getting back to silver. This chart was posted by Mr. Yuppie. Gold, all-time high, check. Copper, all-time high, check. Silver, all-time high, X. Nowhere near the all-time high. But moving on, Lobo Tigre, my friend, says hot commodity silver sets pace as demand. This is from Yahoo Finance. Demand deficit spur rally. So we have had 4 consecutive years of shortages in the silver market, which brings me back to this confirmation. You've got this very strong resistance of this downtrend line that was tested. You've got a couple of strikes here, and then it finally broke through in late March. It went up, and it went up to this triple top that had happened and bounced off of that triple top. Well, when it passed this line, a lot of professional traders jumped in, and then when it got repelled off of this triple top, a lot of them jumped out. And then it went back down, and it retested that resistance as support, and it found support there and started going up. Some traders got back in, but a lot of them will wait until there's this confirmation. And so a lot of professional traders are now going back into the market because it takes about a 3% move past something, a strong resistance like a triple top, and you can consider it a breakout. Well, this is almost a 9% move. And so it's definitely a breakout that is confirmed, and I'm going to go over a whole bunch more charts with my insiders. So for you insiders out there, please log into your account and you can see more analysis and why this is so incredibly bullish for silver. I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.